Hello guys, Ryan from Husky Moving here, Arlington, Massachusetts. We are a full-service residential and commercial moving company. We do disposal, we do handyman work, we do some light plumbing, we do some light yard work. What have I done this week? Did some assembly work. I'm about to go move a couch and a rug for some lady in town. Assembled a snowblower the other day for someone before a snowstorm. It's actually not snowing, it's raining, but they said it was going to snow. So we got that done for them. A couple of moves for college kids this week. Some full moves. What the hell else did I do this week? I feel like there was a lot of handyman stuff this week, which is good because the weather's turning, and so if I can be indoors. Anyway, what I want to talk to you guys about is I was online the other day on one of the forums I frequent for business advice slash like service person advice, and peach iced tea, absolutely delicious, highly recommend it. Service advice forum, and there was a girl on there who was talking about something that I deal with all the time. It's what I would consider to be something we probably all deal with. You can look at it as a flaw if you want to, but I think it's really just human nature. She had showed up to a job. She apparently brought a whole ton of tools with her, and she was hired to do a job with another person she did not know. The other person did not bring anything whatsoever to the job, and so by default, the girl was kind of handcuffed because now all of her tools were being used by this other person who showed up completely empty-handed. In the comments for this, there were a ton of people talking about how that happens to them pretty frequently. They feel like they show up with X, Y, and Z, and some other person will just kind of walk in late with nothing, where realistically they're not providing too much, they're not bringing too much to the table, blah, blah, blah. And so I thought that would make an interesting video because I actually had a situation that was kind of similar to that yesterday, although not in a negative way, but it just kind of details the process of like your mentality and how you can choose to look at things. So the basic gist of this video is going to be, do you want life to be fair, or do you want to be successful? Fair, or do you want to be successful? Those two things very often have nothing to do with each other. And I'm going to start the video by saying this is probably the greatest gift that my mother ever gave me when I was a child. She used to tell me that all the time. When I was a young kid, I used to go to her. I would complain about shit. I would say, hey, this isn't fair. Hey, I'm sick today. I want to go to school. Hey, I don't feel like working. Can you do it for me? Hey, I don't feel like doing my homework. And my mother, to her credit, would oftentimes say some version of, she wouldn't always say the words, but she would say some version of, I don't give a shit what Timmy's doing. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care that Brendan is going to Harvard. I don't care that Vanessa's parents just gave her a new Jeep. I don't care that you have to work harder than Timmy. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. Has nothing to do with you. Literally nothing to do with you. I don't want to hear it. Figure out your shit. Go be successful. She wouldn't say those words, but that's pretty much what she'd say to me. Using her way of doing it. And this was for an extended period of time. This was my entire life. To this day, if I call my mother with some bullshit, and she knows it's bullshit, there'll be a very small part of her that will be empathetic. The vast majority of her will be, and she does this to me all the time, and I fucking hate it when she's doing it half the time, but I know she's right. Some version of, Ryan, cut the bullshit. I don't want to hear your nonsense. Go figure it out. Be successful. Okay? That's the premise. You want life to be fair, or do you want to be successful? The two things very often do not meet. Okay? Yesterday, this is not shitting on my customer yesterday. There's a reason why she hired me. I'm just explaining a point here. Yesterday I got hired by a woman in town. She has to shut down she has a cycling studio. She has to shut down. She basically got hammered by COVID. I'm not going to go into it. It doesn't matter. She has to shut down her business. She has a lot of work that needs to be done to get out of her current space that she's leasing. She wants to get out of there ASAP because the business is effectively shut down. So now she's just wasting money every month she's there. I've been there before. She hired me yesterday to come in and do demo work. What she wanted to do was what she told me she wanted to do was get these giant wall panels that have been constructed. They're huge. They're like, I don't even know how long. They're like, I don't know, maybe 16 feet long by like maybe like 5 feet wide. So they're big and they're made out of wood and they've got paneling on them and they've got 2 speakers apiece in there and they got cans for the lights. They got electrical up there. They're heavy as shit. That's what I was told I was doing. What actually wound up happening is she changed plans when I got there. She actually just decided she wanted to just cut the speakers out of the panels and leave the panels for the next person to deal with. However, the reason why I mention this is because it was a giant demo job. There was a lot of speakers that had to come down. They had to come down. They were up in the ceiling, like, I don't know how high the ceilings are. Let's call them like 10 or 11 feet high. It was a gym, so it was like an industrial space. So if you think about a gym, typically the ceilings are pretty high, wide open spaces, blah, blah, blah. The reason I mention all this is we're doing demo work. She's got a building she eventually has to clean out. We're potentially going near electrical wires. I'm doing everything overhead on a ladder. Some spaces are higher up than others. What this means is I show up with a truck full of a shitload of tools, like a lot of tools. It took me a long time to pack the truck. I think I had 6 tarps. I had an electric sawzall. I had a powered sawzall. I had a jigsaw. I had 2 circular saws. I had 8 sets of batteries. I had their corresponding chargers. I had my tools that I bring to every job, which is a giant stack of tools. 3 different size ladders, including one that goes into it like a, it's not like a A-frame. You can fold it into various configurations. What else did I have to bring? Plastic bags to cover the fire alarms, painter's tape to get the plastic tapes on the alarms themselves, a bit extraction tool because some of the covers that went on her Bose speakers up on the ceiling, the person that put them in had just jacked up the screws, and I knew that from the last time I was there. The screws were jacked up, they weren't coming out, so I had a bit extraction tool. Point of the story is I show up with a ton of tools in the back of the truck. Like, the back of the truck is filled with tools. Any normal person who saw what was in the back of the truck would be like, dude, why do you have so many tools? You got to keep in mind, that same person, though, was not responsible for doing all the shit that I had to do. Did I need 3 different sets of ladders? No. Was it helpful? Yeah, definitely very, very helpful. Did I need 2 different sets of sawzalls? No, I didn't, but if one went down, I still had a backup. Did I need 2 circular saws? No, but if one went down, I had a backup. The other thing is they're all on different platforms, so I can be charging one platform's batteries while I'm using the other one, so that means there's absolutely no downtime. If I go down there with 1 circular saw and 1 battery, when that battery runs out, I'm effectively useless if I need that circular saw for the next, I don't know, 4 hours or however long it takes to charge. So did I need 8 batteries? No, of course not. But was it a fail-safe so that I never could have any moment whatsoever where I couldn't do what I needed to do? Yes. Was it my responsibility to cover the floors with tarps? I don't know. That's debatable. Personally, I don't think it is, but you can make an argument either way. Point of the story is when you show up with tarps and you start throwing tarps down on the floor, does it look good? Of course it does. Does it look like you give a shit? Of course it does. The reason I mention all this is not to pat myself on the back for yesterday. That's my job. That's what I get paid for. I'm supposed to be doing all this. Did I want to be packing the truck with all that stuff at 11:30 the night before when it was freezing cold out? No, of course I didn't. It took me like a half an hour to get all that stuff in the truck the night before. It took me like a half an hour to get all that stuff out of the truck when the job was done. Did I get paid for any of that time? No, I didn't. But is that part of my job? 100% yes, it is. It's my job to show up with every tool I could possibly need to the best of my ability to do the job from start to finish. So I literally don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to go to a hardware store. I don't have to go to Home Depot. I don't have to leave to go to my house. Every tool I should possibly need over the course of that job for the project I'm being hired to do, I try to show up with. Is it annoying? 100%. Does it mean you bring in more stuff than you need to? 100%. I've done jobs before where I was booked on my previous company would book us to do packing jobs and give us no information whatsoever on what we were packing, the house, how big it was, how many boxes to bring, blah, blah, blah. So the guys would get annoyed with me because I'd be bringing 100 of each style box. And at the end of the day, they would look at me and go, well, we only use 30 boxes. And they'd be annoyed that they had to unpack 70 boxes. And I'd be like, all right, well, how many boxes did we need this morning before we left? How many boxes? And they'd be like, I don't know. And I'd be like, I didn't either. That's why I brought 100 boxes. How could I know? If nobody tells me how many boxes to bring, I got to overestimate, obviously, right? And if we went there, we had the proper amount of boxes, and we could do our job properly, then were we successful? Yes. Is it annoying that we have to unpack these boxes? For sure. But what's the alternative? We show up with, I just randomly guess on how many boxes to bring and hope I'm right. And then if I'm not right, the job stops. We have to come back tomorrow. The customer's pissed. We don't get tipped. It throws off the schedule for the rest of the week. There is no alternative. That's the only way we can be successful. I mention all of this because oftentimes when you're the only one doing it, when you're showing up with the boxes, when you're showing up with the truck, when you're showing up with the straps, the sawzalls, the tarps, the full tool stack, the 8 sets of batteries, the 2 different platforms, the 2 circular saws, the plastic bags, the painter's tape, when you're showing up with everything to make that job successful, it can oftentimes feel very unfair. It feels as if you're doing all the work and other people are skirting through and getting the benefits of all your work without having to do anything. And the reality is, that's the truth. The other reality is, that's why they pay you. That's why you're a professional. That's why you get paid, hopefully, a lot of money, because you take on that responsibility. So you charge a rate, commensurate with all that shit that you have to take on that other people don't want to do. But what I want you to take away from this is the same thing my mother told me, which is you can either be in a situation where everything feels fair, or you can be in a situation where you know for a fact you're doing everything humanly possible to make you in this job successful. But fair and successful very often are not the same spot in life. It's very different. It's usually I can do what's 50% and hope that the other person does 50%, and then the chances of success are, I don't know, we'll take our chances. Or I can be 100% responsible for everything that needs to get done in this job, assuming that everyone else is going to do absolutely nothing. But I don't give a shit whether everyone else does absolutely nothing or not. All I care about is me, my business, this job, and making this person my customer for the rest of my life. If that's what you care about, you don't give a shit about fair, because fair has nothing to do with it. All you care about is your own success, and that's the key here. Forget about letting other people make you successful and things being fair. Worrying about you making yourself successful and doing everything you need to do. So that's being out at 11 o'clock, packing the truck with 4 tarps and 2 sawzalls and 2 circular saws and 8 batteries, or whatever the hell that means for your job. That's what you do, because that's how you guarantee success. If you put that in the hands of someone else, nothing is going to be guaranteed, okay? What I want you to take away from this video is it's your job in every situation in your life to make yourself, your business, and that job successful, regardless of what everyone else around you is doing, all right? I hope you've found some value in this, guys. If you did, please like and subscribe. If you need to get a hold of me, it's info@huskymoving.com is the email address, and website is huskymoving.com. Thank you so much for listening, guys. Appreciate it as always.